from home. I'm running
Okay,
late.
so I am not sure where Jason is. He's probably waiting outside the library for you.
Yeah, I just texted him. He's going to call in momentarily.
Okay.
Hey guys, everyone here?
Is that
Yep.
Jason?
Yes, this is Jason.
Okay, we got everybody.
All right.
All right. It is anybody, Bob, did you call the meeting to order already?
I did not, no.
All right. So I'll officially call the meeting to order November 9th at 5:02. Take a roll call. Robert Sheehan,
Present.
Lillian,
Present.
Rob. Here. Jason.
Here.
Jim is here. Ken.
I'm here.
All right, everybody. Good. All right. First item on the agenda is the approved minutes.
I have one change to page 1 of the minutes, where it says meeting date Monday, September 28th. It should say October 26th.
Okay.
Okay, then that means September 28th, first page under, oh no, I'm sorry. Never mind. Sorry, wrong. I'll make a
Okay,
motion
to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the October what? Date
26th.
was it? October
26th.
October 26, 2020 minutes as written and amended.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Lil?
Aye.
Rob? Aye. Jason?
Aye.
And Jim's an aye. Motion carries. Okay. Were there any other minutes, Lil?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. I don't know if there's any billing. I think there is, but I'm not there to
Oh,
look
yeah,
through the
the rest-
package.
You want to go through it, or it's the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission invoice number 1, work that Ken did?
Okay.
You want me to read it off, or?
Yeah, if you would, Lil. You got it in front of you.
Okay.
It's not included in the PDF, is it? Of the attachments that Kathy sent, right? I don't see it.
Then she sent it before that.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. But if you could just read it off,
Yeah.
Lil, that would be fun. That would
Okay, it's Pioneer Valley Planning Commission invoice number 1 dated October 23 in the total amount of $101,630.64. It's for services of the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to the town of Granby, and the period covered is July 1, 2020 through September 30th, 2020. We have direct labor of $737.18 and indirect costs $893.46. Total of $1,630.64. And we do have the detail broken down by project. So we have everything we need on that, unless you want me to go through that.
Does anybody want Lil to get into the weeds on that?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
All
Yeah,
right,
I'm
then
okay
all we need
moving
is
forward.
okay. So all we need is a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve invoice number 1 dated October 23, 2020 for Pioneer Valley Planning Commission for the total amount due $1,630.64.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Lil?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Jim is an aye as well. Motion carries.
So Jim, you'll have to stop in and see Kathy then to sign it?
Yes. Okay. Next. Next on the agenda is the A&R, Red Rule Road. Has everybody reviewed that?
I have.
I have. Yes, I have as well.
Is
there
anybody
any-
on? Is there anybody on to discuss this? The surveyor or Dan Massey?
Okay.
I guess not. Okay.
Did anybody have any issue with it?
Well, if somebody could explain in plain English exactly what they're doing here, I can see the drawing and the locus, but is it two lots they're changing into, one lot they're changing into two lots they're changing into one, because they paid $250. So to me, that would say 2 lots.
Yeah, it's always
Right.
2 lots.
The way I look at it is there was an old lot line down the middle of the page, the dotted line, and that must be going away. What I don't understand is in the left-hand corner where you come off of East State Street, that 50-foot right-of-way easement, there's a little rectangle right at the end, and it says old lot line. Is that something that's being created there? That I don't understand that.
I don't either.
Although, no, that must not come into play on this. That is just showing an old lot line. Cheapers.
It would
I
be
don't know
nice
if
to have somebody to answer the questions.
Yeah, I'm a little. I don't understand it. Suffice it to say.
When I looked at it, I assumed that they were trying to get rid of the old lot line is the current plot. I thought, and that they were getting rid of it, and that's why we're changing two sites here. But again, we really don't know unless somebody were to verify that for us.
Correct.
Right. Although if they paid $250, in other words,
$250 It's $250 is the minimum charge. $250 is the minimum charge.
Right, but they're right. But I just don't know about that little rectangle there. Should it have been $375?
Okay, first of all, the dotted line is an easement. So that means nothing as far as lot lines go.
Right.
The yeah, it's not clear what they're trying to do here.
No, I mean, I think the other one is very obvious. The dotted line, old lot line that bisects the property. I just don't know what that little, what's going on.
I don't even-
As well as, and we never hold them up on this anyway, it doesn't have that standard note that comes on these plans or that we have to stamp on the plans. This does not constitute the buildability of said lot. But that's minor. That's something we can take care of with that stamp if we have access to the stamp.
It does say on the bottom right, this plan does not constitute a subdivision, therefore approval under the subdivision control law is not required. That doesn't quite say what we needed to say.
No, that does not. That's a standard statement typically anyway. It's the buildability one that we have that stamp made for. I think we need to find out what's going on there.
Hang on a minute, Bob.
Sure.
I want to see the application. I think the locus explains it, but I can't tell if they're, it looks like they're, where does that,
Jim? On
old
our
lot
Mar-
line? Go ahead, Lou.
On our March 9th meeting, it says A&R Federal Road, Mr. Daniel Massey reviewed plans to combine 3 lots into 1. The plans were missing a locus and the title block for 5 signatures. Mr. Massey will return to the March 23rd, 2020 meeting with the corrected plans.
Okay, so 3 lots into 1. That means that number one, the fee isn't right, and that's the third lot has to be that little rectangular piece.
Yep.
Thank
The
you for
locus.
looking that up, Will.
I didn't. Kathy Leonard did, and she sent me a text.
Oh, okay. Kathy's with us.
Kathy's with us. Yes, she's in charge of the meeting.
Okay.
So,
We need better plans and more money.
yeah, but I'm looking at this. It doesn't appear that this house ever had frontage.
Well, I think Dan and Kathy Massey own both those 2 big lots, so that 199.94 foot frontage on Fred Rule Road was probably theirs. That was the frontage. Although I see what you're saying. Well, if it was commonly owned, how could that lot line have been there?
Right. That's
Maybe it
interesting.
was the easement.
It
On the
could have
left.
been the easement.
On Mr. Gazda's property.
That's all.
It could have been.
That wouldn't have given, well, unless it was old, that would not have given him frontage,
Right.
required frontage. I don't see how the hell.
Well, regardless, we have to talk to these folks, and it really doesn't make any difference. They will have frontage with that 200 feet.
Yeah.
The residence
Well,
is there.
It makes sense to me now what they've done. And what they've done is fine.
Mhm.
They took the 3 lots and combining them all into one.
Right.
That little rectangle off to the east. And then the larger lot to the west of the old lot line.
Mm.
So as far as I'm concerned, it meets the requirements. It just, other than the check is incorrect. Because there's 3 lots that need to be re-recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So they're changing the lot line for, it just looks different from the locus as to what they put down. Me. Unless I'm looking at it sideways.
Yeah. No, it's right.
So according to the locus, which, let me scroll down a little bit here, seeing as I can't read too much.
If you look where the 50-foot row easement is,
Yes,
and then a little further, it shows old lot line.
yes. So they're moving it to where? Way over to the left?
They're just removing it and combining it.
So the one that says F. Ernest A. Gazda is that one piece, and then Michael Roberts is another piece, and Robert and Teresa Weisbach is another piece, correct? Or am I picking the wrong 3
Yep.
pieces?
I believe that those, at least the Michael J. Roberts and Robert and Teresa Weisbach are not being affected by this. And probably not the Ernest Gazda either.
Nope.
I'm wondering if it's a piece from Donald Venn that's being chunked out. I don't know.
No, it's a piece that he had already owned. That was purchased before. And now he's just making it all into one lot.
Okay.
The one that says 9.88 acres?
Yep.
So that is taking back that chunk, that little rectangle. From the Donald R. Venn lot. So that's 2.
Nope, he's
right?
not. No, he's not taking it from anybody. It's an existing lot that he owned. That Ernest Gazda lot went all the way across. That was always there. All he did was have that stick out so that he had a right of way to that land at one point. So he's pulling it away from the easement and removing that dotted line. It's always been part of that. Well, I can't say it's always been, but that's all he's doing is just moving that lot line out.
So the lots that we're concerned with is the one that says residence. And well, it probably would be 3 because Ernest Gosda doesn't have that little piece anymore, right? And then Donald
What?
Mann.
If I can interject here, I think we need somebody to explain this to us. You know, I'd like to get it out of our hair, but we already know, based on what Kathy has texted Will, we already know that the fee is incorrect. If indeed what's happened, what we're looking at this evening is indeed what was proposed back in March, and now we have it.
All right, so we want to table this until they
Yes.
come back and someone explain it to us?
Yes, and that'll give us time. I'm sorry, you finish, Jim.
Okay, so we're going to table this until someone can come back and explain it to us. And if it's what we think it is, then the check needs to be corrected as well.
Right. And in the meantime, we'll have to get our stamp out of the second floor, the main floor of the library, to stamp this.
Okay.
What I don't want to do is I don't want to make the Masseys incur a new cost for having to make 2 new Mylars and 5 more copies or 4 more copies. The Mylars are expensive.
Yeah, we can just stamp them. That's why we got the stamp. That's not a big deal.
Right. Yeah, it's just that we
with
got to get to the stamp. So.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll table this.
Go ahead, Bob.
So we'll table this until the next meeting, or when somebody, either the surveyor, the Masseys, or Danny Massey can talk to us.
And I'll ask Kathy Leonard to contact them to explain to them that we need them to explain to us what they're doing and pay
Right.
$125 more.
Correct.
If it's what we think it is, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so on to the next.
Jim, you
Yes.
should have received the A&R from Heather Labonte. Remember last time
Yes.
she didn't have, okay, and Kathy sent out something just a little bit after 4 this afternoon. It's not on our agenda, but we can put it under old business.
Okay.
We can discuss it today.
I'm good with that.
Right, and we had agreed at the last meeting that we would discuss this meeting. So.
Right.
In review of this project, but this A&R last meeting, I think we all agreed that everything looked good. Heather had explained it to us. The only thing that was missing was the locus. I will make a motion right now to approve the Heather Labonte A&R on Harris Street.
Okay.
Any
We have a
questions?
second.
Which involves resident number 149, 151 Harris, and lot 2. I'm sorry, not lot 2. A remaining parcel of land that's 52.5 acres.
Right, it's 145 Harris, 149, and 151 that are affected. And the only affected pieces are really, we put the driveway on 149 where previously it had been kind of severed in half. It was on the wrong plot line. That goes way back to when we built. And then on 151, there's a slight little jut out in the back, which is the addition of our septic system.
Can I ask a question of Heather? Do we want to wait till we get a second?
Yeah, let's wait until let's have a second first, then we'll open up for discussion.
Rob will second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Lo.
Heather, just a quick question. Is this chapter 61 land?
A portion of it is, a portion of 145 is 61B.
And I don't think as a planning board, we can vote on it until we go through all the hoops for 61.
What do you need? We were just reapproved by the town for 61B. And I can tell you how many acres. So we have 48 acres classified out of the 52.32 acres.
Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but because you're on the committee that approves any chapter 61 land that the town has to either exercise their right to it or refuse it.
Could you please explain the exercise their right to the land?
Hang on a second. I'm still looking at this here. So Heather, there's 57.9 acres here, right?
Yes, total.
And you said how many acres of it is in chapter 61?
48.
So the question is, what 48 acres is?
So my understanding is the 48 acres is fluid, that it isn't a section that is cut out. That's what's been explained to me by the Board of Assessors.
Okay.
That sounds kind of bizarre. How can it maybe or maybe not be in 61?
Well, there are 48 acres, but the way my understanding is if this were hayed, if they were using this for hay in one section of the 1 year you do section A and the next year you move it over a little bit so you're not utilizing exactly the same plot of land for the second year so that you have better, soil mixtures and that sort of thing. That's my interpretation. That, could be incorrect, but I would assume that that's why it would be considered fluid.
I think I'd like an opinion on this one. I don't want to approve something that could possibly be in 61 before it's gone through the town.
But
could you
explain to me what what you're referring to? I'm really just trying to get so my whole goal here is just to get the land out of my parents who are both deceased, get these pieces, the properties into my sister and I's name because they were left to us. So we're just trying to get it whole. And that's our goal. We're not looking to sell the land. So that's why I'm not clear on what the town's right of refusal is. If you could just, if someone could explain that piece to me.
Well, typically what happens, Heather, is anytime someone wants to take it out of 61A, the town has first right of refusal. And they have first right of refusal because if you wanted to take it out of agricultural and the town felt as though they wanted to keep it agricultural, they couldn't do anything else other than that with it, that they would have first right of refusal to do that.
So it's not that they're taking the land from me. They would just say that you can't change it out of the classification.
Oh, yes, you can do it. There's definitely ways to do that.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that the town's not going to want to take my land. They just will not let me change it potentially. Okay.
Correct.
I'm just making sure.
So who owns the 57 acres?
So it's my sister and I, because
Okay.
it was willed to us from my parents.
Who owns lot 149?
That is also was willed to both of us. And then 151 is my husband and I own that that parcel.
So then the land is not changing ownership. You're just moving a property line
Correct. That's all we're doing.
within the parcel.
Correct. That's exactly what we're doing. And with no, with no plans to do anything else with it, we just want to make it look right on paper, because the whole reason we're doing this is so that we can go to the attorney now and say, here's the land. We just would like it in our names for, a myriad of reasons. We're just looking to get the deed in our names. That's really what it is, so that it's correct. My mom's been gone for 4.5, almost 5 years now, and my dad for over 10. So we're really just trying to get this component complete. And we've had there's many, many reasons it hasn't happened until now. So that's why we're just trying to get it all done in one complete piece.
Jim, let me ask you this, seeing as you've been through some of these pieces before with Chapter 61 land. Is the town only concerned if they're selling it?
Correct.
So
Well,
it's not being sold?
No, not just selling it, but if it was going to, one, be beneficial to the town somehow. In other words, hey, this great piece of property, it's something that the town could use for a school or something along that line. So there's 50. I can tell you right now, I'm looking at 57 plus acres here. 50 remaining land, 52. 48's under Chapter
61B.
They're not removing anything out of that. They're just moving a property line that they already have. If they were moving the property line over 10 acres, then we could say, well, maybe that's infringing on the 48 that's in Chapter 61, but that's not the case here.
And honestly, the only piece that even touches that is the tiny little piece that is our septic system that is on that
Yep.
on that line.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. So we really don't need the town's
No.
approval first.
No, this would not,
This would not qualify.
although so I'm good with this. I don't take any issue with this.
Okay.
And if it's
And by
helpful,
moving
we
that
do
prop-
have an easement for the septic piece already. So I don't know if that's helpful or not.
No, that makes no difference to us for the purpose of what we're looking at it for.
And it's not changing the purpose of what you're using the land for, so.
Nope.
It should be okay. So we can continue the vote?
Okay. So with that said, looking for a motion. Well, we already had the motion, so
We already have a second.
we already have a second. So Bob,
Aye.
Lillian,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
and Jim's and I. So the motion carries.
Jim, you'll sign your paperwork there. Oh, no, you don't. We'll all stop in and see Kathy.
Well,
Get
yeah, we'll all have
everything
to
signed.
stop and see her to sign.
Great, thank you. Could you let me know what the next step after you sign is?
Pardon me, Heather?
I'm just curious, the next step after you sign, I pick up the single Mylar? That would be mine. And then will you let me know when that's available?
Right away, as far as we're concerned.
Okay.
That's true.
Great. Thank you all very much.
Okay.
You're
Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thanks, you as well.
Okay. Okay, so that's it for A&R Federal Road. So the only thing I'll ask, the only thing we've got left on the agenda, well, that's old business, that I would ask Ken to give a brief update from the last economic committee meeting that you presented to.
Sure. Hi, board. So as you know, the DLTA project is and I've been meeting with the Economic Development and Growth Committee, of which Jim is sitting on that committee as a member of the Economic Development Committee, and Will and Jason are sitting on it as members of the Planning Board. And to that effect, I think, as you recall, the project is to examine mixed use in Granby per the request of the town administrator. And at the last meeting, we explored, we provided, or I provided some context for the zoning districts and how they were outlaid, and tried to understand through your master planning process, learning the reasons why you adopted the mixed use district, and then also determining some challenges that we learned of at the last committee meeting from one of the members. I believe it's Bill Porter. I think that's the name. Yes, and as he is a landowner and was exploring development in the mixed use overlay, but told the committee of the challenges of doing that. So I think as we're going through this process, and as I'm starting to compile recommendations based on communities of similar sizes, but with the challenges similar to yours with regards to infrastructure, financing infrastructure, and understanding that, and then also exploring the zoning bylaws of which mixed use is built upon. The recommendations, that will be given to the committee by the end of the year through this report will suggest some changes to zoning with regards to maybe relaxing some of the requirements. Whether or not the planning board would, take on that, if the planning board would be the facility or the mover to make those changes or explore changes. I'm sure that will be discussed at some point, either through the select board or through the growth committee. But I think, knowing that, the recommendations will be put forth in this report, which will include some suggestion of changing bylaws to address mixed use development. I don't know, Jim, if you wanted to add anything, or if you wanted me to elaborate.
No, that summed it up. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Good job. Anybody have any questions?
I do not.
Is there anything else we have, though, that you'd like that we need to discuss?
But we have one open action item. We can get that done in like 2 seconds.
Let's do it.
Myself, Rob, and Bob were to contact Kathy Leonard to set up a time to sign the A&R for 176 Bachelor Street. That is completed. Life is good. The next meeting is gonna be normally November 23rd, which is the week of Thanksgiving. I don't know if anybody cares this year about that.
I would like to see if we could meet if the Federal Road A&R comes back in.
Yes, let's see what we've got. I mean, everybody's doing this from home. We have convene for a few minutes might make a difference to an applicant. So.
Okay.
Right.
If I may,
Okay.
I know that Lil knows of the town's acceptance of the MVP action grant, of which the town got some money to update the stormwater bylaws, of which the planning board will probably act as that stormwater authority, and you'll probably want some input into that. Other PVPC staff will be working on that, and I can fill in the blanks when I can, but that's not a project that I'll be working on directly, as well as updates to the master plan to incorporate the community resilience building workshop ideas that were brought forth when Granby did this a couple years ago. And it's to address building resilience in climate change, and where necessary within the master plan to discuss those ideas and how they can be incorporated into the town's current master plan. So I think it's to be mindful that there may need to be discussion by the planning board to identify members or identify, who would want to participate in those processes. But understanding that the planning board will need to be somewhat involved with both tasks.
So who's running that project?
I believe Emily Slotnick and Corinne Mizey Munns, with some direction from Patty Gambarini, and they're working with Dave DeRozier as your
So that'll be Dave coming back to the planning board, right?
Yeah, at some point. I'm sure he'll be engaging with you.
Okay.
Again, that I don't know how far you can get with that until the town decides it's going to have another town meeting.
Yeah, no, I think that's understood. And who knows what the federal government's going to say. The requirement for the town to be compliant with the new MS4 permit is next summer. So whatever that looks like. And again, I think your bylaw is written where you don't directly, it's not necessarily addressed in the zoning bylaw, but rather in the town's general bylaw. However, the planning board plays an important part of stormwater regulation, but it's not directly related within the zoning bylaw. So you won't, I don't think it would be necessary to go through a public hearing from the planning board's perspective. But it would be taken upon as a town general bylaw amendment.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have anything?
I don't.
Okay, then I guess we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Made a lot of motions tonight, Bob. We have
I'll second.
We have Rob second.
Sorry, Rob.
Okay.
Go ahead. I beat you.
Any discussion? All in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Billy?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Jim's and I. All right, everybody. Thank you. Good night.
Have a good